What up, everybody? I hope you are enjoying the second day of Indie Design Week. I hope you are taking notes and paying attention. There's been a lot of good information so far, and our next speaker is no different. She is the Director of Global Environmental Sustainability at Cummins, and she's here to talk to us about the design of Planet 2050. Please help me give a warm welcome to Karen Cecil.
Hi, everybody. What a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. I really look forward to sharing how we designed our environmental strategy. And I'm super excited that we're doing it on Earth Day. So good job to the planners who made all that work out, right? So I'm going to start off with an introduction of myself. And so I'm going to do it in pictures because I want you to understand. So I guess you'd call me the lead architect of Planet 2050 with lots and lots and lots of extremely talented and brilliant people working, partnering with me and on the team. So, but I wanted you to kind of get a snapshot of why this is important to me. So I was the baby girl there sitting on my sister's lap. So born in a large family. My father at this picture was in the Veterans Hospital. So my mother, so I was raised by a very strong mother, loving mother that plays a big role in my life. And also the reason I wanted to be a family counselor, as you can tell, I'm not a family counselor. And the reason that I am not is because during an internship my senior year of college, I was working in counseling with the SPAS Abuse Center and with the children, realizing then I was too empathetic to be a counselor and decided I needed to take a different route. So I went to work in business, starting at Toyota. And there I realized that an individual in a family is no different than an individual on a team, right? So very team oriented. So I was back in business and really started working on things such as quality management. So most of my career has been quality management, complex problem solving, all types of problems with lots of experience in that, including simplex creative problem solving and Six Sigma as a Six Sigma Master Black Belt. So most of my career I did change management. So you find a problem and lead it all the way through the change. I ended up in sustainability leadership, and it was perfect because what I realized is I don't just like to solve problems. I prefer to solve problems with lots of people on something that really matters, right? Something that makes a difference. I learned that through a Six Sigma project I did with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Central Indiana, a wonderful, wonderful agency. And it was there that I realized that I want to use my skills to help, right? Make a difference. And so I took the job at Cummins for sustainability. Leadership was a brand new position at the time. And I received an email. So the announcement goes out, new job. And I received this picture from an employee from China who said, hey, I love that you have this new job. It's a new role. And can you help us? Right. And there I realized it's not like the other jobs, right? This is real. This is important. And so there I did what anybody would do. I went back to school and decided I really need to understand how to lead this, right? So I'm really exciting program at Arizona State University. And that led into the design of Planet 2050. And with that, too, is understanding that, they say your grandkids, well, honestly, it really does matter, right? And so thinking about how old they'll be at 2050, it's not too different than where I am today. So all of the moons just aligned for this. And now to introduce Cummins, and I won't go too much, but I just want you to kind of understand it. We are in Indiana company. We have a home office in Columbus, Indiana, and we also have a distribution home office in Indianapolis. So we provide power right? You may know us and think of us as diesel, but really we provide power that meets our customers' needs. What will it look like, right? And we're helping to figure that out. And this is just showing, hey, we are in all kinds of markets and applications, right? So if you're having an Amazon Prime package delivered to you right now, likely it was used a Cummins engine, right? So we serve all these different markets. And that's really important when we're talking about how important Planet 2050 really is. Because, lots of employees, we can service in 190 countries, right? We make lots of engines. We have a big footprint, right? But we have lots of experience, 102 years of industry leadership, and we put a lot of money in research and technology, right? And so that's why you're seeing things like fuel cells, electrification, right? All these different things that we're investing in for the future. And this is really important, right? And so our background for environment didn't just start. We started, back in 2000, pre-2000 for the actual emissions regulations. And so we've had a lot of experience and being leaders and advocating to go further faster. We set our first public goal in 2006, right? I joined up and took a role in 2012, where we really understood our life cycle, like how big is our footprint, right? Did a lot of study there, set goals for 2020, so they're being announced soon. But in 2017, we decided, hey, we have our 100th anniversary in 2019. Let's have a new sustainability strategy, right? And so the design of our plan was really designed as also being part of, hey, what's Cummins going to look like in the next 100 years? So the first thing in designing was, what is our design challenge, right? And so when you look at this, and this is one of my favorite, KPMG did this, and it's just a great way to really explain things pretty easily. So we have these big, huge mega forces, right? And all of them are big deals, right? And material resource scarcity, big deal to us, climate change, right? All these things that will impact business and our communities, right? And so we understand that. And so the way to do an effective design, right, is, we need to make sure that we're addressing the risk and we're taking advantage of the opportunities. So you could see the design challenge was quite large, right? And is quite large for the world. So what we thought about is, what are we? What does success look like? Like, when we're done with Planet 2050, how do we know if we did a good job or not? And these are the 6 things that we settled on up front of, what that looks like. And so I'll walk through that. So the first thing, because we are a big company and we actually do want to make a difference, right? And so what are the things that we can work on that will actually, we can leverage our global presence, huge footprint, all the suppliers, all the customers, and take collective action on the real problems, right? So I call these the big 5, right? Pollution, unprecedented climate change and its impacts on lives and livelihoods, water scarcity and impacts on communities and economies. Of course, global waste management, it's just not sustainable. And same for resource consumption, right? And so when we look at all of this together, and then also when we look at today's current economic models, don't take into account, right, these environmental challenges. So it's a very tricky balance when you look at the whole problem. So another thing that we really make sure of is, if we're going to really address problems, we need to know where's our biggest opportunities. And so 70% of all environmental impacts are determined up front, right, in design. So we know that's going to be an important piece to it. for water and waste, it's about raw material extraction and processing, right? And so those are big deals. And then most of our greenhouse gas footprint is from our products being in use, right? So the fuel burn. And so these are the big levers that we had. And we also understood we had 2020 goals, pretty significant goals. And we learned tons of what to do and what not to do from those. The next thing we wanted to think about when we were designing is, this has to motivate and inspire employees. I mean, employees truly, truly care about this. They want to be a part of it. They want to be a part of a company who does make a difference. And so we know that's the importance, right? And we want to do something that makes, our company proud and our employees proud. So one of the big things, so for the 2020 goals, you go to give a presentation, you'll go, we're going to tell you about the 2020 sustainability plan. Honestly, like people are already kind of bored by the time you get your opener out. So we wanted something that had a brand, right? So the Planet 2050, this was an employee's idea, right? The acronym and everything, I didn't change one thing about it, right? And the beauty of it is so people really have grabbed hold of Planet 2050 wording, right? So, and it's been actually quite, it's been pretty fun to watch, right? So. The next thing is we wanted to connect to our values and mission. So we didn't set our plan and then go back to see how it actually connected to values and mission. We started with that, right? And so making people's lives better by powering a more prosperous world is our mission statement. And so what we already understood that, our economy and our business is only as strong as the communities in which we live and work. So we knew that, and like COVID made it like so much more clear, right, about how quickly that is. But what we're saying is the planet, right, is in there as well, right? So, with climate and biodiversity, ecosystem, all of this, and we're so dependent as a business on natural resources, and also as a community member, on natural resources. So understanding all these different interconnections together is actually part of our prosperity chain. So it's not separate from who we are. It's not off to the side. It really is, just an interconnection of who we are and how well the economy can do. So a more prosperous world requires a healthier planet. So this connects us totally to our values and missions. The next piece to this was just really about, designing, how do we create design applied to science? So what we wanted to do, if we're going to do something for real, we wanted to align to what the science, climate science says. So we agreed to do a science-based target. So it is in line with climate, and it was an approved goal from this external group. So what we're doing now, we want to partner with engineers to be able to apply their innovation to, and when they're doing that, they're doing it to the top 5 things that we saw. And so really what we're doing now is being able to have the right tools for them, for our engineers, for the level of decision making. And in a way, think of it as we want to design in the science, right? And it's really important. And you have to have the right tools. So we're looking at, we're creating carbon modeling tools and all these different capabilities now, right? And one of my esteemed professors said, sustainability is really a decision-making problem. And he's right. I mean, he has completely hit that right on the nail on the head, because you have to have the right data, the right tools to be able to make these complex decisions. Another thing we wanted to do, and this was actually a topic, I think on Tuesday, so Doug went through this on the design of circular economy. So we don't want to make things up. These are already principles that are out there to help us on the material efficiency piece of it. So we are adopting circular economy principles. We renamed it because a lot of our employees don't understand the terminology circular economy. So we renamed it so that our employees would understand. That's part of the design, is making sure that they do understand that. So we called our sustainable materials and process. And so, you know, when we're looking at this, we want our employees to be able to understand. And so we created design principles in design. So we, you know, this is one of the biggest areas where they can impact the most. So we're trying to do it in ways that are upfront, and we want them to be able to execute the strategy and goals. So this will be a first step, creating the principles, creating metrics for them. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us to get that all the way through the company. So this is the big idea. And so this is Plan 2050. And we have, you'll see aspirational targets to 2050. And we have, you know, more tactical, difficult goals to 2030. And we did that by design, right? Because we wanted to set the North Star. And then also we wanted to be able to have tactical, you know, things that we could get done. And so that's an important piece of it. You know, we want to have a net positive impact in every community that we operate. We want to be carbon neutral, right? And have carbon neutral facilities for, as well as our technologies. And we want to use natural resources in the most sustainable way. So that means wasting nothing. Okay? So, you know, when we think about the big 5 things, this is a long range strategy. It's also a mindset change. So lots and lots of psychology. So I will get to use that individual and family development degree. It's going to require a lot of partnerships. And so, you know, not just when you think about partnerships and collaboration externally, think internally too. Lots of people who have never worked together, different functions, putting them together to address it. We are currently working on the foundation, and also, you know, and this is really critical. So we're trying to solve the things now, like the capabilities, the tools that are required for us to actually integrate. And I think I'm almost out of time. So the last thing I'll go through is our employees have to really understand what we're doing. And so we want to meet our employees where they are. And we're kicking off this Planet 2050 employee engagement model. So the first piece of it is an influencer program. So our employees can take this out. It's kind of like a train the trainer and influencer program all together, where they can take this out. It's hard to get to 60,000 people. And so they're going to help us. And so it'll be, you know, they can do this as grassroots. They can do it as a functional piece that they're engaged in their role. One employee has actually, you know, created an employee engagement app for mobile phones, and it's like spectacular. So I'm so impressed with what employees when they put their mind to it. And then last but not least, definitely in our communities. And I think I'm out of time, so I'm going to jump onto the Q&A.
Thank you so much.
So if we have any questions, feel free to post them either in the chat or the Q&A area. To start with, yeah, like it's amazing that this one employee kind of launched this entire plan for 2050. Like, you know, some of us might dream about having that kind of impact on a business. Any like advice for us as the employee and how we could like affect change within our own companies?
So first of all, like for when you say one employee, this is like a continuation of a lot of work, a journey, right? To be honest. And the importance of what employees can do to have your voice heard, because now companies are hearing it from, if you're a publicly held company, you're hearing about this, right? Your investors are starting to ask, the institutional shareholder investors are starting to ask. So I think just making sure, just going up and asking, what are we doing? How can I help? Really makes a difference, more than you know.
Excellent. I actually really enjoyed, like, Cummins is a huge company, and it sounds like you're sourcing a lot of ideas internally. Is that like a new framework that was implemented? I guess I'm asking if there's like a program that you created to help like grab ideas from employees. Is it like a siphoning thing, or it's like a team, or how's that like sourcing working? Sorry, that's a horribly framework.
No, very good. So, to be honest, we've had employee engagement for a long time, and so it's very important to us. But the first plan was really just in certain functions, right? You had to be in facilities and operations and health, safety, and environment, right? And we did have one with our customer. So, it was like, it wasn't, people wanted to be a part of it, but we didn't have something for them to do. We did have a June Environment Month every year. But what we're doing now is this influencer program is going to be the difference, right? So we have a group that does actually they use a, like an innovation tool that people can give ideas to. And so we have a grassroots group that does that, right? And so that's what the Planet 2050 incubator does. But the influencer program is going to be the avenue to get to the employees, right? And that we're able to talk to them and to train them and to start getting into having a teams so that we can chat, with like-minded folks. So that's the approach coming in June. So.
And we've got a question in the chat, which sounds like maybe you just answered, from Marie Williams. How do you keep this long-term plan engaged with employees over time? So is there anything else in terms of like far-reaching, the long-term aspect that you're also looking at, in addition to what you just spoke about?
And it's hard, and it depends. People have different brains. So lots of people are very energized with the 2050, like, yes, we got to go, like, this is big. And then the others want this more tactical approach. And so what we're doing now, and it is a really good question because it is a real thing that we're doing now. Because we are in the middle of trying to figure out what are the tools and the capabilities needed, and we're doing some work behind the scenes. The employees are going, what's going on? Right? Yeah. It's a fair question that they should be asking us. And but what we're doing is making sure through the influencer program that they know that actually the 2030 goals we need to be working on right now, right? And that's what we got to get across. And it pretty much goes across every function. So once we get this going, I think we'll see that mindset shift.
Nice. Excellent. I'm excited that a company like as large, as globally impactful as Cummins is putting these steps forth and really innovating a space and kind of proving themselves to be potentially helping other companies too that are equally as large. That's exciting to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, setting their example, honestly. Like, I think a lot of other companies need to look at Cummins and what you guys are doing to push the needle forward on it, because it's an important issue. And like, I'm curious. 2050 feels like a long way away. I guess it's maybe not that far. But how do you anticipate the plan changing over time while you get closer to that mark?
By the way, these are excellent questions. So, every 5 years, we have to go back to the Science-Based Target Initiative group and revalidate, right? That they're still, does the science change or not? And I've always said that we will, we set the strategy based off data, information, where we are, what's going on. And we'll do that again if we need to readjust, right? Being flexible and adaptive is going to be the name of the game, right? For being successful in the future.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, I don't think I'm seeing any more questions in here. Any final thoughts before we take a quick break?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, sorry. Any closing remarks or anything you want to say before we take a quick break?
No, I do want to say that, valuing the environment is something that once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? So I thought recycling was enough before I started this job, and now I'm forever changed. And so just appreciate, everyone's interest in this. And we have a Planet 2050 external site that has our entire strategy of how we created it. So if you're going through this, please go out there and get that strategy because it explains what we did. We want to help others, and please feel free if you're on this journey to give me a, we'll get my information out to you. So.
Excellent. Yeah, we would love to post that. We'll post that in the chat, all our Slack channels.
We'll blow it up.
We'll
Oh, well, okay. Well,
Yeah.
in a good way. In a
Yes,
good
yes,
way.
yes.
Okay, very good.
Well, thank you so much again. We're going to take just a quick break, and then we're going to have the normies do another fun improv session. So thank you all.